Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a 2019 Acura NSX. I've always found the NSX to be a very fascinating supercar. It's received, I think, a bit of unnecessary hate over the years. I currently think it is one of, if not the most underrated supercar currently on the market. I think it's a very good looking car. It's a 2019, so they actually had slightly upgraded suspension, slightly different exterior trims. But other than that, it's still a incredibly fast car. I'll admit there are a couple of issues. Probably the biggest one is the fact that the trunk is situated right behind the engine, so everything will simply melt away. Unless you want some soup, this is pretty unusable. You know, at least the size is nice. My camera equipment cannot go back here because it will disintegrate. So slight drawback, but other than that, this car is amazing. So let's go ahead and take it out for a drive. Initial thoughts, it's a very civilized car, quite comfy, rides quite well.
Dude, this is nice, I'm with it.
It's nice. And
the seats are big boy approved.
Yeah, NSX, I've always said, has probably the comfiest seats of any supercar. Let's kind of get the basics out of the way. You have a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6. It produces 500 horsepower, and then you get an extra 73 horsepower from the electric motor. So if you do basic math, 573 brake horsepower, 3 electric motors, 1 in the back, 2 in the front, controlling each wheel in the front, so therefore it is all-wheel drive. The one in the back helps kind of minimize any turbo lag, basically. So the throttle response is immediate, and because of those electric motors, you have tons of torque at your disposal from any RPM. Top speed is 191. We do have a 9-speed dual clutch transmission. The steering is very tight. And even though this car weighs 3,800 pounds, the fast steering kind of minimizes that a bit. So it doesn't feel its weight really at all. The 2019 NSX brought a couple of sort of minor changes to the suspension. Really mostly they just stiffened the roll bars a bit. I think it's like 26% in the front, 19% in the rear. And then a couple of like cosmetic changes to the exterior. A couple extra options you could have interior wise. Yeah.
She accelerates.
She does that. Jesus. The front end grip on this thing is insane. It's crazy how sticky the front end is. Just at civilized, speeds.
So uncivilized.
It's nice. It's very usable, very quiet. Because you have a twin turbo V6, you're not going to have a crazy loud V12 behind your head. Incredibly spacious. My only complaint, I will say, is this side pillar right here is very low. It's weird how spacious the cabin is, yet this is so low. I guess it depends. If you're 3 feet tall, it's not going to matter, but if you're anything above that, if you want to look behind you, it feels like your neck is going to snap off. It's a minor complaint, is that you might have to get neck surgery, but other than that, everything's fine. Let's talk about the sound for a second. It doesn't sound amazing. Wouldn't say it sounds bad. I'd say it sounds better than a GTR, but not as good as like a 570S. For a V6, it sounds great, actually, I would say. But compared to the competition, which is primarily V8s and V10s, it's at the bottom of the barrel for sound. But it does have a nice deep growl to it. Now, I will say, even though the exhaust is somewhat monotone, these with exhaust systems on them, like Fabspeed or any other aftermarket system, they sound like wicked. The stock exhaust kind of just sounds like bubbles. No cap, like not gonna lie, like just on that Goofy Goober shit.
Stop talking. Forever. I'm now doing the car review. Welcome back to my channel.
This kind of sounds like air. Let's put it in launch control.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds, but I'm telling you, that feels faster. That's got to be like sub 3s. I don't want to do too much because it breaks somehow. But geez, dude, that was
one more time.
Okay, so it does turn traction control off. Nice. The acceleration is ferocious in this car. I think more than people would expect. I just think people underestimate really how fast this car is. I mean, it picks up speed. I want to say almost on like McLaren's level. This feels on par with the 570S. I'd say it feels faster than a Huracan. Of course, everything in track mode is just dialed up to 11. Gear changes are immediate. Throttle response, more immediate. Body roll, non-existent. This car specifically has the steel brakes. You can option it with ceramics, but these are brake-by-wire. To some people, it's a little sketchy. But in this car, you wouldn't be able to tell this is brake-by-wire. It just feels like a normal supercar brake. Because you have all-wheel drive, there's a sort of confidence that it gives you behind the wheel, a sort of safety net, if you will. I want to kind of compare it to maybe like a McLaren in terms of ride quality. McLarens are probably still the king of ride comfort. NSX is not far behind. Even in Sport Plus mode, the ride is quite nice. Let's put it in EV mode.
And we're silent.
It's completely silent. We can travel up to 18 miles on just EV.
That's not fun.
Yeah, 0 to 100 miles an hour in just over 7 seconds. So it's on par with all the competition. Yeah, revs to 7,500 RPM. You do get a slight kind of kick when you upshift. I like when supercars give you that. It's fun to just step on it and see people disappear. Inside, as I said, I'll say it again, it's just nice. The materials are nice. You could say they're not up to par with McLaren and Ferrari and Lambo, because they're not, but they're nice. I'd be fine with this. The NSX does still get attention. And it's flex. I've had a couple of people already during the shoot ask what car this was. I think the last thing I'm going to say is an Acura. Even I'm still shocked that this is an Acura. And I think when this car came out, it was controversial mostly because the original NSX, an Icon, was a much more simple approach to the sports car, supercar, whatever you want to call it. And there were no hybrid systems back in the day, but it was just a much more simple car. This came out, it had a V6 after they said it was going to have a V10. It had a whole bunch of hybrid systems and electric motors and all this tech that was just kind of overwhelming at the time. And it just wasn't really what we expected, I suppose. And even the styling didn't really look anything like the original NSX. So I think that's kind of what started some of the controversy with this car. I think also the price at the time, it was just, these are approaching the same price as like a McLaren. I think now they're in the used market for $150,000 range. They're fabulous. I think for the money, it's a ton of car. This does share, even still, the sort of original formula for the old NSX. It is Ferrari performance for less money, for almost half the price of a 488. So it is still pretty true to the original in that sense, but still a car you can absolutely thrash on a track or on any kind of back road. Another downside, I suppose, the paddles, they're kind of cheap feeling.
Mid.
Yeah, I do love that, just like the deep growl from the V6. It does sound good. The more I drive this car, I think the better it sounds, and the more I can appreciate the engineering behind this car. I confidently say this is the most underrated car on the market, I would say. Especially at this price point, performance. I mean, it is pretty insane. And that is not slow. Fantastic car. Overhated car, 100%. Mostly from people who have never driven them. The NSX, because it is a Honda product, is incredibly reliable long term. And when you own a supercar, that's what you want, is something that you can trust and something that you know will give you long-term satisfaction. And I really think the NSX is one of the best at that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.